I'm not tearing up because you've hurt me or I want some sympathy. I'm tearing up because I have to restrain.
Sheryl Underwood is one of the main hosts of The Talk. She joined the show in its second season and has been there ever since. But recently it came out that Cheryl is not actually who everyone thought she was. And now that people know what she's really like, no one wants anything to do with her. And you're not going to believe just how bad it gets. Cheryl has been on The Talk since 2011, and she's had several co-hosts over the years, like Eve, Carrie Ann Inaba, Sharon Osbourne, and Aisha Tyler, to mention a few. These days, Cheryl's co-hosts are Akbar Gbajabiamila, Amanda Kloots, Natalie Morales, and Jerry O'Connell. And word on the street is that Cheryl isn't exactly the most loved person on set. If anything, she might be the closest thing to being the most hated person on set. According to the U.S. Sun, an insider shared that Cheryl mostly keeps to herself on set, but there's more. Apparently, she's also gone as far as creating a very toxic work environment on The Talk. Supposedly, things are so bad that no one even cares to be in the same space as Cheryl unless they have to. The source even pointed out that when it's time to take a break, Cheryl will stay on her phone. Meanwhile, her other co-hosts will chat with the crew and tell stories or just joke around. And if it's not with the crew, they might chat with each other. Cheryl, on the other hand, will always stay out of it. She'd apparently just rather stick to her phone. And if Cheryl is not on her phone while the production is taking a break, she might be backstage or something. The truth is, no one really cares that Cheryl keeps to herself. If anything, they allegedly prefer it that way. But at the same time, it's not like Cheryl is putting in any effort to be a part of the crew. If anything, it's almost like she's encouraging everyone to leave her alone. But the truth is that it wasn't always like this. It all started back in 2021 when Cheryl got one of her co-hosts, Sharon, fired because of something that they did while they were on air. And you're not going to believe how crazy it got. It started with a segment of The Talk where Cheryl and Sharon got carried away and their conversation got heated. Cheryl talked about how Piers Morgan, who also has a TV show, made discriminatory remarks against Meghan Markle. And Sharon made it seem like it was a statement against a whole race. Sharon challenged Cheryl and asked her to say when Piers had ever made a statement against a race. Now, obviously, Sharon was defending her friend Piers, but at the same time, Cheryl couldn't really back up her claim. But it didn't just end there. Sharon took it to the next level when she said that she felt like she was in an electric chair for defending Piers. And just because she was defending Piers, a lot of people would think that she was also discriminatory. Now, Sharon made it clear that just because people think that Piers behaves in a certain way toward a certain group of people doesn't mean that it's true. So trying to defend him shouldn't make her look bad, but it definitely did make her look bad, at least to the higher-ups in CBS. According to Newsbreak, CBS conducted an internal investigation surrounding the heated argument on air, and just like that, Sharon had predicted, she was seen as the villain. After their investigation, CBS decided to fire Sharon for what happened while they were on air. According to CBS, what Sharon did during that episode did not reflect the values that CBS believes should be in a respectful workplace. And that was how Sharon's time on The Talk came to an end. But here's where it gets messy. A lot of people believe that Cheryl was a big reason why the investigation was carried out and why it led to Sharon being fired over a simple argument on The Talk. At that point, it's not like anyone had been lining up to be friends with Cheryl, but after all that happened, things got even worse. Sharon, on the other hand, was reportedly a very lovely person to work with. She was always lively and nice, and she got along really well with the crew and her other co-hosts. Basically, she was pretty close to being the ideal person to work with. So when Cheryl made Sharon lose her job, it looked like everyone started hating on her. But it didn't just end with Cheryl getting Sharon sacked. It got even worse because everyone believes that Cheryl also had a hand in another co-host, Carrie, having to leave the show. You see, while everything was going on between Sharon and Cheryl, Carrie was on a 4-month leave for her health. But a month after Sharon was sacked, Carrie also left The Talk. Her reason was that she still had health issues that she needed to handle. Still, a lot of people believe that Cheryl had kind of forced Carrie out of The Talk, but that still isn't the only reason why everyone turned on her. Allegedly, Cheryl has always made things kind of difficult for everyone on The Talk. In fact, there was a time when Cheryl was reported to HR multiple times for being mean and a little bit too confrontational, especially with the producers. And instead of trying to be a little bit more cordial with the producers, what Cheryl did was honestly shocking. She decided that it would be a good idea to stop talking to the producers and most of the crew working backstage. So to bridge the gap, she got herself a personal producer. So now when the producers of the show want to speak to Cheryl about the show or some of the things that they're trying to work out, they can't talk directly to Cheryl. Instead, they have to talk to Cheryl's producer, and then her producer will relay the information to Cheryl. And then Cheryl will still give her feedback through her producer. It sounds crazy, but apparently no one's ever really complained about this setup, because it's not like these people are eager to work directly with Cheryl. But if you think that this is bad, it still gets worse, because it's not just the people who work under Cheryl that get the burnt end of the stick. Cheryl also sometimes has meetings with the higher-ups, and apparently when she feels like the meetings are not going her way, she storms out. You would think that at this point she would have been called out for her behavior, but instead management seemingly lets her do whatever she wants, so it just keeps getting out of control. But it looks like all of that is about to come to an end, whether Cheryl likes it or not. Recently, CBS announced that they would be closing the curtain on The Talk. The show has been running for over 14 years, and in that period, they've picked up 14 Daytime Emmy Awards from 56 nominations over the years. But The Talk hasn't been as good lately as it once was, and it was recently proclaimed the lowest rated show on CBS. That's usually when it's time to call it a wrap, which is why the show is ending in December 2024. And from the looks of things, their time slot on CBS will be taken over by a soap opera titled Behind the Gates. So the time for Cheryl to terrorize her coworkers is now over. But anyway, what do you guys think about all this? Do you think Cheryl got what she deserved? Or is everyone just being too harsh on her? Let me know what you think in the comments below.